What in the world? Has an elephant escaped and made its way to the second floor? It sounds as though it is coming directly from above me, but that is the storage room. Welcome everybody, Crimson Dragon here, back with chapter 8, The Truth of Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, the first cases. Um, so now we just found out that Mademoiselle Elizabeth is the one that murdered and killed. Obviously the same word, same meaning. Anyways, the Major Doofus. He was killed by Mademoiselle Elizabeth. So now, we're off to find the truth. So, let's see if we step outside and she will be there. Or do we have to hunt her down? Okay. Last we knew is that Mademoiselle Elizabeth was dealing with and Janine. So let's go to oh oh what's the noise? That's right, because in the last video we heard a noise and everything, like elephants were moving around upstairs. So let's check the Major's bedroom, see what we find. This area does not pertain to my current investigation. What? What? Okay, so where's that open door? Here it is. Oh, jeez. Why would Mr. Strong be in here cluttering around in the dead of night? Archibald is up to the middle of the night making some amount of noise. I must find out the extent of his behavior.
Monsieur Starling. Oh, Detective, I was just... Please, I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this hour.
A butler's job is
I am no fool, monsieur. You have spun enough stories this weekend.
Honestly, Detective, you don't trust anyone.
And with good reason.
My patience has all but run out. What are you doing in here?
I've been thinking about my time with the family.
I often think on fond memories, but it does not take me to a storage room in the middle of the night.
There are many memories held within these walls. I just wanted to see them again.
Monsieur Strong, it sounds as though he has plans on leaving the house. It sounded as though you were moving furniture in here.
I didn't realize the noise I was making.
Obviously. Were you preoccupied looking for another of the Major's medals?
Of course not. I already explained.
No, monsieur. You attempted to dupe me again into believing one of your stories.
Please, Detective. I know you know how it ended up in my possession. I was just trying to get some extra money together to send home. I can't lose this job. If Lady Van den Bosch found out...
Theft of a medal would be the very least of your problems.
Um, you have done nothing but deceive and abuse your position in the house.
Deceive? I'm sorry that I lied to you about the medal.
Even when confronted, Mr. Sterling still remains steadfast and refuses to acknowledge what he has done.
Would you care to explain the fake telephone call? It was purely for my benefit, no?
Why would I fake a telephone call?
The same reason that Mademoiselle Rihanna dressed in the Major's jacket in the snow, to allow not only the guests but me to believe the Major was still alive.
I didn't kill him, Detective.
I know, monsieur, but I also know that you helped the one that did to cover their tracks.
It wasn't like that. We were just trying to help. She had no part in it.
Both you and Mademoiselle Rihanna risk your freedom to help Elizabeth.
You never let on. How long have you known it was her?
Monsieur, I am Detective Hercule Poirot. I only show my hand when I deem it necessary.
You will be taking her away then.
She will stand trial for what she has done.
But you don't know the full story. She is just a servant in this house. If she is arrested, that will be the end for her.
If Mademoiselle was only protecting herself, as you both have claimed, she will surely be found innocent.
You have still not explained what you were doing in here.
The Major's military storage box.
The one that stored his medals.
Amongst other things, yes.
And those other things are...
I had to protect her. If you found it when searching the study, you would have carted her off then and there.
Whatever it is you have hidden, it will not remain that way for much longer.
Monsieur Sterling is obviously hiding something. I should perhaps conduct my own search for it instead of relying on his cryptic messages. Cryptic, messages.
I need a moment. Oh.
One of the many saint carvings found from around the house, abandoned in a box. Why is this saint carving in here? Okay. We got a link, storage room. And then a detached saint carving. One of the many saint carvings from around the house, abandoned in a box. Why is this saint carving in here? Archibald implies he is leaving the house. He expects he'll be leaving the house soon, presumably due to his actions this weekend. Archibald admits to the cover-up. He finally admits to his actions. When pushed, if only he had admitted to his tampering sooner. Archibald was taking medals for extra money. The family finances have clearly led the staff to doing what it takes to ensure their own wealth. Archibald claims there's more to the story. Missouri Sterling has been one for secrets this full weekend, but seems reluctant to tell me more. And now we got a link, so...
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
Yeah, there was definitely a moment there. The detached covering may relate to a door in this room. This would explain Archibald's presence.
Magnifique.
Archibald must have hidden items in the secret room. I presume this exits exists within here, somewheres. Inspect the storeroom. I didn't really see anything else that's in here. Oh. Aha! A hidden room. It seems there are more secrets in this house to discover. Finally! We've been waiting so long. We knew that this room existed about a couple chapters ago. Um, yeah, I think it was like 2 chapters ago, chapter 6. So, glad to finally find it and everything. So, let's see. Let's see what this place has to offer. Oh, no, I don't want to go to the storeroom.
Oh.
I haven't concluded my investigation with this area. Good. Glad you didn't go back. Uh, Military service box. The Major's military service box contains letters and keepsakes. Expensive lighter.
Ah.
An expensive looking lighter. Looks to have, unfortunately, been through a war. Come, my little gray cells. I believe we already know something about this mystery. Here's that picture again.
Huh.
The last will and testament of the late uh, Viscount. It seems he truly loved Angeline. Last will and testament declaration. I declare that I, Viscount Edwin Van de Bosch, am of sound mind. This uh this last will expresses my wishes without undue influence or duress. Article 1. In the event of my death, I hereby appoint my wife, Cassandra Van de Bosch, as the executor of the Van de Bosch estate, and I leave the remaining wealth held in the Van de Bosch name to my only daughter, Angeline Van de Bosch. Any outstanding debts, expenses of my last illness, funeral expenses, and administration costs are to be paid from Van de Bosch account at the National Bank of Belgium. To my daughter Angeline, you are the apple of my eye and the brightest star in the sky. Never allow your light to fade for even a moment. To my wife Cassandra, thank you for the many joyous years. We have laughed, we have loved, and we have brought the most precious of gifts into this world together. I trust you will protect her and prepare her for a future full of opportunity and hope. Edward Van Viscount Edward Van de Bosch, Monsieur Victor Rogu, Rogu and Petit solicitors. Oh, a prestigious looking knife, luckily belonging to the Major. Seriously, that's like it? That's all that's in here? Alright, let's go with R to see what we can find here. What connects the dots? So, we got this, which was inspect the secret room, already done. Oh man, we got 2 links to make 2. This is awesome. So we got the military knife. Prestigious looking knife, like we belonging to the Major. Blood stains. Blood looks to have been stained into the blade. Despite clear attempts to clean this, what can I now confirm? Rose engraving, the rose symbol of the Major's regiment. This knife belongs to him. Expensive lighter. An expensive looking lighter. It looks to have unfortunately been through a war. well used. Although it is of a high quality, the letter looks to have been subjected to rough usage. Unrecognizable symbol. A red symbol on the front of the letter appears to have been damaged. Could this symbol be related to anything else here? I wonder. This, and then the rose engraving.
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
This letter must have been belongs to the major. The army symbol all but confirms this. But don't I already have this in my possession? I still got 2 links to make. Military service box. The major's military service box. It contains letters and keepsakes. War map. An indecipherable map from the war. It is useless to my investigation. Standard military box. The box appears to be of military standard. Empty canteen. A canteen from the war. I can imagine it held anything from water to whiskey. Viscount's will. The last will and testament of the late Viscount. It seems he truly loved Angelina. Under the guardianship of Madame, although the belongings will go to Angeline, the Viscount requests they're under Madame's guardianship. The Viscount left belongings to Angeline. He must have wanted to ensure she was looked after once she had passed. Formal letter. A letter that orders the dismissal of the major and details some of his actions during the war. The major killed prisoners of war. The reason for the major's discharge in an act he must not be proud of. I presume he wouldn't want this secret to become public. The major is not receiving a pension. The major's reckless action led to the removal of his pension. Did losing his pension affect his overall financial situation? Dishonorably discharged. The major's questionable actions during the war resulted in him being discharged from the army. Formal letter. The letter dedicated to the major from one of his old colleagues from some time after the war. The major was building his militia. The major was recruiting people for his militia and conducting some of his former by contacting some of his former colleagues. The major contacted old friends. The major was contacting old friends, presumably from his days during the war. Oh, jeez, I'm crawling. Alright, that's everything. Now we're gonna make connections. So, let's see here. We got, a lighter, well-made lighter, insignia of the Major's regiment. Must have dropped it.
What a revelation!
The lighter I found in the military box is certainly the Major's, meaning the other one is not. Jeez, I'm crow. And with that, we gotta touch Archibald. Alright, let's see what else we got here. Empty canteen. War map. Archibald is taking medals for extra money.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
The murder weapon has been found. Elizabeth must have used this in the study. Now we gotta touch our Archibald. Alright, all is done. Let's touch Archibald. And see what other lies he's gonna tell us.
There is no use lying anymore.
You think? When I inspected the garden yesterday, I found a lighter I presume belonging to the Major.
He always had his regiment lighter that he received in the war on his person.
And yet, it was not his regiment emblem that was engraved on it.
My father's. It must have fallen out of my pocket. You still have it, detective.
Monsieur, you have stashed evidence, manipulated a crime scene, obscured my investigation, and yet it is a lighter that you worry about most?
If it is my path to end up behind bars for what I have done, so be it. It is Elizabeth that you cannot allow to be locked up without the truth being told. I have heard how you fought for that young maid before. Fleurette, is it? I only ask that you do the same for Elizabeth.
Although the cases differ greatly in severity, I can envision the similarities in how Mademoiselle Elizabeth will be treated by those in possessions of authority or social standing, even before she is tried. It is my oath as an officer of the law to uphold justice and fairness. Mademoiselle must be given the chance to prove her innocence before the courts as any other suspect. Uh, the absent murder weapon.
You found it.
Even the secret area that has been created here is not concealed enough to stop Detective Hercule Poirot.
I couldn't just leave it at the scene for you to find.
The Major was killed by his own knife. The knife that protected his life during the war would eventually be the one that ended it.
It was in his holster when he attacked her. He had hold of her arm. What else was she meant to use to get him off of her?
I cannot imagine the Major would have given his knife up easily. She must have been in close proximity to reach it. Perhaps he did attack her she claims.
She didn't plan any of it, detective. She was only defending herself.
That is what Mademoiselle told you?
She did, and I believe her. You think you knew the Major, but you had no idea. He was a monster and had more secrets than all of us combined.
That may be true, but that does not excuse what she has done.
Put yourself in her shoes for a minute. If a man like that had attacked me the way he did Lizzie, I would have done a lot worse to him.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth was told has told Monsieur Sterling a version of the events that suggested she was attacked by the Major. I struggle to believe that she would make such a story up. But then I also did not believe she could do such a thing as commit murder.
I need a moment.
Archibald claims the Major attacked Elizabeth. If Mr. Sterling is to be believed, Elizabeth may have fallen victim to the Major's temper. Letter from the garden belongs to Archibald. Archibald explains the letter belongs to his father. He must have dropped when he was outside.
I must take a different approach if
Ah,
I want to
dang it.
uncover the truth.
Dang it. High hopes there. Alright, let's see here. Alright,
Come, my little grey cells. I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps
Major's bedroom window. I didn't read this one. Archibald was in the garden. Missouri Sterling was in the garden on the night of the murder. He would only be out in the weather or to hide or collecting something. Which was it? Open window. The snow continues to bellow in. Why this window has been left open, I cannot fathom.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
Are they really? If the only thing I found was Archibald's letter, he must have collected something else. What else did Archibald collect from the garden?
This will not get me any closer to my goal.
Alright, it's gotta be something with this.
Another success.
That's what I thought.
I never doubted myself.
I do sometimes. Archibald dropped the murder weapon from the window, collected, and then hid it in the secret room. Time to talk to Archibald. But first, we gotta go over here. The procedures took a knife likely belonging to the major. So that was it. Just some knife was added to this whole situation.
There is no use lying anymore.
It was you that I saw in the garden that night.
When you asked me yesterday about seeing someone out there, I thought the game was up.
That does not explain what you were doing out there.
When Lizzie took me to the study, the knife was still in the Major's chest, and I knew I had to get rid of it. I dropped it out of the window, knowing no one would be going outside. It was fine for the time being, but I couldn't risk it being found when the snow melted.
So you collected it under the cover of darkness and stowed it away in here where you thought no one would find it.
After your questioning in the pantry, I knew you were onto something, and I couldn't leave it here.
And where did you plan on moving it to?
Honestly, I don't know.
Collecting the items and hiding it to save Elizabeth. He must truly want to protect her from the law. Alright, nothing in here. Oh, right there. Archibald tried hiding a knife to protect Elizabeth. He must have wanted to protect her from the law, no matter the consequence. Alright, so now what do I gotta do? Talk to Elizabeth? I think that's my next step. Oh. No.
Oh.
I guess I gotta touch Archibald again.
There is no use lying.
I have one last question. Why?
Why what? Why I would risk everything to help Lizzie?
Exactement.
Because she is family. If you were in that position, you would do the same.
I can assure you, monsieur, that I would not.
Then perhaps that says something about you, Detective. I would do anything for her. for any of my staff.
Even if it means crossing the boundaries of the law?
Without question.
The lengths that Monsieur Sterling would go to protect someone he considers family as admirable. But when those lengths break the very laws that are in place to protect the innocent, they cannot be ignored. I ask that once your morning duties for the ladies of the house are complete, Mademoiselle Rihanna and yourself wait in the staff quarters.
Aye, detective. But please, you have to help Lizzie. It was all an accident. She doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her days behind bars because of that man.
If she is put behind bars, it is because that is what the courts have decided upon.
Detective, you can't be so cruel.
It is not cruelty.
Whoops. Dang it. I got button happy. Sorry. After all these further revelations, my mind is as busy as Monsieur Goulet's chocolate soup. I have all the pieces of the puzzle to deduce why Elizabeth killed the Major. Now I must allow my little gray cells to put them together. After finding those documents in the hidden room, things are starting to fall into place as to why Elizabeth may have killed him. Oh my god. The informal letter. The Major contacted old friends. The Major was building his militia. And the Viscount's will. The Viscount left belongings to Angeline. Under her guardianship of Madame. Military service box. The Major's military service box. Okay. War map. Standard military box. Empty canteen. Formal letter. The Major is not receiving a pension. The Major killed prisoners of war. Dishonorably discharged. Alright, well, now we got 2 links to make, so let's see here. The Major was in a bad financial state.
What a revelation.
Not receiving discharge. The Major's financial struggles must have left him in need of a source of income. Who could the Major have turned to in his time of need? Ernesto paid Major well for his support. Ow. Hmm. Hmm.
I must act on
I didn't
thought
think so. Oh, wow. Wow.
Is there something? I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Only sometimes. This information would have destroyed his reputation if unveiled. A strong motive for blackmail. Okay, so now I just got one more. Then we got dishonorable discharge. Being discharged from the... Okay. Security attack first. Probably not.
Older and
I
better.
think so.
That
What could it be? What could it be? What could it be? Elizabeth is the murderer. Security attack first. Lou died in the factory strike.
come, my little gray eyes.
Hmm.
I cannot see the logic in
I
this.
think so. Really? And this will pay the major well for his support. The major was desperate for a well-paying job. Oh, yeah, okay. I didn't think it would make that kind of close of a connection.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
The major needed a good job to go ahead. It was the only way to guarantee money in his pocket. What could he do to ensure the job would be complete?
Another success.
Alright, to ensure his payment, the major must have ordered the attack at the strikes. What were the consequences of the major ordering the first attack?
Magnifique.
The major's actions unfortunately led to the death of Luke, and all for greed. Who would have been most affected by this?
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
Elizabeth has probably lost more than anyone else involved. She may have sought her revenge. Elizabeth doesn't seem like the vengeful type, but all signs are pointing to her seeking revenge for her beloved Luke. If I am to confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth, I must be at my best in my little grey cells at their most alert. It is time to at least try and rest. I have no time to wallow in my lack of sleep. I must confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth and hopefully finally know the truth of what took place.
Detective Poirot, I'm glad you're awake.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. It has certainly not been a night of peaceful sleep. There is something that we must discuss.
Please, Detective, I'm not sure I can take any more surprises like last night.
I'm afraid this may be the most upsetting of them all.
You have found Felix's killer, haven't you?
I have. And the guilty party will certainly come as a shock.
I take no great pleasure in telling you this, mademoiselle.
Detective, please.
It was Mademoiselle Elizabeth that was behind the Major's death.
You must be mistaken. Elizabeth could not do such a thing.
I assure you I am not. It is something I spent much of last night deliberating. When you spoke of the telephone lines being out of order, it made me question the conversation I thought I had heard Monsieur Sterling make with the Major before connecting the call to him.
But it hasn't been working all weekend.
Exactement, mademoiselle. That is when I knew I had once again been lied to.
On my way of speaking with Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Johanna, I met Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
She was meant to be resting in the staff quarters. She has not been well.
I am afraid that was yet another lie, orchestrated to keep her from incriminating herself.
Why would you think that, Detective?
I only managed a few words with her before we were quite abruptly interrupted by Monsieur Sterling.
I must admit, he has a habit of speaking over the other staff.
It was much more than merely disturbing our conversation. It was done with the intention to prevent Mademoiselle saying something that she should not.
So, Elizabeth killed Felix, and then Archibald helped her cover it up?
In its simplest form, oui. I have heard it directly from the horse's mouth.
You have spoken with Elizabeth already? Did she admit to it?
Not Elizabeth, but Monsieur Sterling.
Were you not woken last night by the tremendous amount of noise coming from the storage room?
I wasn't. What were you doing in there, Detective?
It was Monsieur Sterling that I found in there. I was taken by some surprise to hear anyone awake at that hour.
What on earth was he doing?
He claimed he was merely reminiscing of his time with the family.
You don't believe him?
It did not take long for me to uncover the truth of why he was there, and the location of the Major's murder weapon.
Did you know of the hidden area within the storage room?
Hidden area?
A room that held all of the Major's secrets.
I had no idea. Did you discover the reason for his blackmail?
I did. Were you aware he was dishonorably discharged from the army?
Dishonorably? What does that mean?
I will not hide the truth from Mademoiselle, but I will not try and be as delicate as possible. But I will try and be as delicate as possible with the news of the Major's prior actions. I am sure you are aware of Monsieur Zacaria's troubles he faces from his time in the war.
Yes, Gideon told me about the conversation you had. It is really quite upsetting.
Zachariah was adamant of the Major's cruelty during the war, but the extent was not known until now. He killed a number of prisoners, men that were friends of Zachariah.
Surely not. He would not do such a thing. They must have been trying to escape.
I am afraid not. They were in fact unarmed.
Oh, Detective.
It is the reason he was discharged, denied his military pension, and I believe the reason he fled England.
He had been such an important part of my life for so long, but I feel like I hardly knew him.
Monsieur Sterling was adamant of Mademoiselle Elizabeth's innocence.
Innocence? You said it was she that killed him.
It was her hand that held the knife, but he was quite insistent it happened in self-defense.
In all of the years I have known her, she has barely even raised her voice. I cannot believe she would do something like that out of malice.
The whole truth cannot be known until Mademoiselle Elizabeth has told her story.
I allowed my perception of her character to conceal any thought of her involvement. It seems I am not the only one. The time has come to confront Mademoiselle Elizabeth.
Will you allow me to be present?
I think that is an excellent idea. I hope your presence will calm her and will perhaps allow her to speak more freely.
Please, Detective. I know she has done a terrible thing, but I beg of you to give her the time to explain herself.
What do you think I'm doing? Jeez, I'm Crow woman. Listen!
I will offer Mademoiselle Elizabeth the fair trial that she deserves. as I would with any suspect.
Thank you, Detective Poirot.
Would you bring Mademoiselle Elizabeth to the study, where we will not be disturbed?
Of course, I'll find her immediately.
I believe that Monsieur Sterling has already told me about the events that occurred between Mademoiselle Elizabeth and the Major. I do not believe she would have had to do what she did if he had not attacked her and pushed her to the point where she feared for her life. I must listen to her story, the truth, and only then can her punishment be determined.
Mademoiselle Elizabeth, merci for joining us.
Miss Angeline said you requested to see me urgently.
We have some serious matters to discuss, and I would like to waste no further time.
Oh, yes, Detective.
How are you feeling, mademoiselle?
Still not quite myself.
I was surprised when Monsieur Sterling hurried you to assist Madame Vandenbosch last night.
I should not have avoided my duties for so long. The house does not stop because I'm feeling a little under the weather.
That is true, but you cannot be expected to complete all your tasks if you are not in the right frame of mind.
Honestly, Detective, it was best for me to not sit and wallow anymore.
My investigation has taken me down many paths this weekend.
Have you been able to uncover who the blackmailer is?
The blackmailer's identity has been established, and they will pay the price for their crimes.
Wonderful news, Detective. You can put it all behind you now. You must be thrilled.
I would not say thrilled, knowing that such a close friend has betrayed us.
Mademoiselle is correct. What I have learned over this weekend is that people are not always as they appear. While they may give an impression of being a friend or ally, they can in fact be something completely different.
And, what of the Major's killer?
Well, mademoiselle, that is why I have asked you here now.
I posed a question to all the guests what their thoughts on the Major were. Now I extend my question to you.
I'm not quite sure what you want me to say, Detective.
Your honest opinion is all I ask, and, s'il te plaît, do not hold back. No one else felt it necessary.
We only spoke when there was something in the house to be done. We did not speak of interests or pastimes.
You knew of his work with Monsieur de Silva?
I only know what is required of me to know, and that is very little.
But you were aware of his work as security at Monsieur de Silva's factory.
I was.
The factory your beloved Luke worked at before he was cruelly taken from this world.
Yes, Detective.
I understand Luke was not only involved in the strikes, but was on the front line.
Yes, that is where he spent his last moments. Standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow workers.
The resulting riots were a terrible tragedy, one that I hope we will not have to see or experience again. Something that could have been avoided had the Major and his team done what was required of them.
Nobody deserved to die that day. Not my Luke.
Do you blame the Major for his death?
Detective, what kind of question is that?
It is a straightforward one. Mademoiselle, if there is something you wish to tell me, now is that time.
I'm sorry, Detective, I just don't know how to answer it.
Let us consider what we know of the Major. He fronted the militia that attacked the workers at the strike. You were aware of this? You finally had someone to blame for Luke's death. Someone conveniently located in the same house, alone in his study.
No, Detective. It wasn't like that.
Tell me what happened with the Major on the evening of his death.
I was only in here trying to prove what I heard Mr. Beckers say. I was going to report him, I swear. Miss Angeline, you believe me, don't you?
I want to. I am still trying to understand it all myself. Why don't you start from the beginning?
I was delivering Miss Angeline's dress to her room when I heard Mr. Beckers arguing with the Major in his study. They were ever so loud. I thought the whole house would have been listening to what they were saying. Mr. Beckers was talking about the factory strikes and how it was the Major's fault. He told him that if he didn't own up to his crimes, he would go to the newspapers.
I cannot imagine the Major would have taken kindly to Monsieur Becker's threat.
He didn't. He called him some rather uncouth names before Mr. Becker's left and went downstairs. I made sure to keep out of sight. After the altercation between the Major and Master Gideon, you went to speak with him outside, and I thought I could look around his study without anyone knowing. I had to know for sure. If it was true, he deserved to be held accountable.
And did you find the proof you are looking for?
I found a payment from Mr. De Silva, but there was nothing incriminating about that. I was so nervous. I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest.
And then you saw the blackmail note.
I recognised the writing on the envelope. I couldn't believe it. How could he do such a thing to Angeline? To the family that had taken him in?
Common sense would determine the Major was another victim of the blackmailer.
If I'd have used common sense, I wouldn't have been snooping around alone in his study in the first place. I heard the footsteps in the hall, and before I could move, the Major was standing in front of me, demanding to know why I was going through his belongings without permission. I tried to come up with an excuse, but nothing came out, and when he saw the letter in my hand, it was like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde. I tried to move around him towards the door, but he hurled something towards me, and it crashed against the wall.
That would explain the damage to the wall.
I froze. I have never been so scared in all my life. I thought he was going to kill me there and then.
And you thought you would beat him to it?
Oh, Detective, you make it sound as though I had it all planned. He lunged forward and grabbed me by the arm. I tried to push him away, but he was too strong. His grip just got tighter and tighter. If only you had seen the look in his eyes, I dared not even scream. I saw the sheath on his belt. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to hurt him, but he wouldn't let go of me.
So you took your opportunity to put an end to it all.
I just wanted to get him off me. I didn't want to hurt him. I reached for it and I jabbed it at him. His grip instantly loosened and I ran straight out the door and didn't look back.
You did not even look to see what state you had left him in?
She had just been attacked, Detective.
Oui, please. Continue.
I ran down to the pantry looking for Rahana. She took one look at me and knew something was wrong. I explained to her what had happened and she went to find Archie. She said he would know what to do. We went back to the study and he was still lying there, motionless. Archie said that no one would believe me. That if someone like me killed someone like him, I would be sent straight to the gallows. He left the letter so you would find it. He said that if people knew what the Major was really like, then they wouldn't care what happened to him.
So I am to believe that it was Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that cleaned the scene and orchestrated a plan that included a fake telephone call and dressing as the Major so that he may be seen. You had nothing to do with that.
I swear I had no idea that is what they had done. Archie just told me to stay out of sight. I am no master criminal.
Then Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna will be charged for obstruction of justice and impeding my investigation.
Please, Detective, they were only trying to help me.
If they wished to help you, they should have brought all of this to my attention immediately instead of committing more illegal acts.
Surely you haven't forgotten what happened with Fleurette. She was only accused of stealing a bracelet. I killed a man.
It is a day I have not forgotten, mademoiselle, even for a moment.
Without your help, I don't stand a chance. Please, Detective Poirot, you are the only one that can help me.
Oh, Elizabeth, why didn't you come to me?
I didn't think you would believe me. I felt so guilty. And when it was announced yesterday that he was a victim of the blackmailer, I wanted to tell you everything. I came to find you last night, Detective, but Archie stopped me. I'm sorry.
Come, my little grey souls, let us solve this mystery. Holy crap. Oh, that's a lot to go through. Oh no. Look at all this mess. Oh, this is crazy. Elizabeth was looking for proof of the strikes. Elizabeth must have gotten word about the Major and his involvement in the strikes. Elizabeth stabbed the Major when he wouldn't let her go. Elizabeth was possibly seeking revenge.
Is there something? Order and method. That is the way to stop.
Oh, come on. It's here.
This will not get me any. Things are beginning to become clearer.
Okay, Elizabeth's story confirmed Margot's claim. The Major's death was the result of a defensive strike. Finally, I have solved the case of Major's murder. I must admit, I take no joy in declaring Mademoiselle Elizabeth as the killer, and I wish she had never been put in such a position at all. Oh, joys. Oh, joys.
Oh, yes, Detective.
The Major's missing knife?
I don't know where it is.
If you have been honest with me until now, I ask that you continue.
I'm sorry, I really don't know. Archie dropped it out of the study window and he said he would deal with it. I couldn't bear to touch the thing.
I have the knife in my possession, and I believe that the Mademoiselle's reaction, she does not know what became of it. She is unaware of the efforts that Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rohanna went to mask what she had done. Monsieur Sterling was not lying when he said he would do anything for her. Merci, Mademoiselle. Wait in my room.
Please, I was only protecting myself. I didn't want to hurt him. He just wouldn't let me go.
Oui, mademoiselle. I know. Mademoiselle tells quite the harrowing story.
I cannot imagine the Major acting in such a way. But Elizabeth could not make up such a story.
After learning what I have about the Major's character this weekend, I would not question the lengths he would go to in order to keep his secret hidden. I know that you share a close bond with Mademoiselle Elizabeth, but you cannot allow your personal feelings to taint your belief of what took place.
She has committed a terrible crime, but she will live with that for the rest of her life. She is not a cold-blooded killer.
If what she says of the Major's attack is true, she acted in self-defense, and in the law's eyes, a crime has not been committed. I will do everything I can to make sure her story is heard and a fair trial is conducted.
I believe the version of events that Mademoiselle Elizabeth has confessed are true. The Major, having fallen into a fit of rage at the prospect of his sordid secrets coming to light, he attacked the young Mademoiselle and drove her to do what she had to protect herself. She put herself in a dangerous position, but there is a small part of me that commends the duty she felt to find justice for her beloved, and the other workers that lost their lives at the Major's order. If the telephone line is now working, I must call in my findings. With the remaining snow, it may still be some time before they arrive.
Mademoiselle, it is time I addressed the house.
Are you sure? What will you say? What if they do not listen?
I can assure you, they will.
Elizabeth was right, though. She's just a servant. What if they...
Mademoiselle, when Detective Poirot speaks, they will listen. Would you ask the guests to convene in the library?
Of course. And what of the staff?
I have told Monsieur Sterling to remain in the staff quarters with the others. When the authorities arrive, they shall be dealt with. You have been of great help to me throughout my investigation, and now that it is over, I have one final request.
You only need to ask.
While I am speaking with the guests in the library, would you watch over Mademoiselle Elizabeth in my room?
You don't think she will try and escape, do you?
In her position, I do not know what she might try. But I trust with you there, any potential ideas of such a thing will be squashed.